Xin được trân trọng giới thiệu bà Shannon Rowe từ lãnh sự Hoa Kỳ tại thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Ms. Shannon Rowe, Commercial Officer, U.S. Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City. Và về phía lãnh đạo sở ban ngành, chúng tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Trần Phước Anh, Giám đốc Sở Ngoại vụ thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Mr. Trần Phước Anh, Director of Department of Foreign Affairs of Ho Chi Minh City. Cùng với đó, chúng tôi cũng xin được trân trọng chào đón các ông bà lãnh đạo các sở ban ngành thành phố Hồ Chí Minh như Sở Thông tin và Truyền thông, Sở Tài nguyên và Môi trường, Sở Khoa học Công nghệ thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Hiệp hội Doanh nghiệp thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Tổng công ty Đầu tư Tài chính Nhà nước thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Trung tâm xúc tiến thương mại và đầu tư thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Trung tâm chuyển đổi số thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Tổng công ty Thương mại Sài Gòn cùng các ông bà lãnh đạo Ủy ban nhân dân quận 1, thành phố Thủ Đức và huyện Cần Giờ. Also, we would like to welcome the leaders of Ho Chi Minh City agencies, Information and Communications Department, Natural Resources and Environment Department, Science and Technology Department, Ho Chi Minh City Union of Business Association, Ho Chi Minh City Finance and Investment State-Owned Company, Ho Chi Minh City Investment Trade Promotion Center, Ho Chi Minh City Digital Transformation Center, and Saigon Trading Group. Xin được chào đón tất cả quý vị. Về phía các quỹ đầu tư, chúng tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Chris Ip, đại diện quỹ đầu tư Pavilion Capital. We would like to introduce Mr. Chris Ip, representative from Pavilion Capital. Xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Tommy Town, đại diện quỹ đầu tư Sukarno Management. Mr. Tommy Town, representative of Sukarno Management. Về phía Temasek Foundation, chúng tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu. On the side of Temasek Foundation, we would like to introduce bà Hang Ly Lang, Giám đốc mảng khí hậu và môi trường tại Temasek Foundation. Ms. Hang Ly Lang, Head of Climate and Livability at Temasek Foundation. Về phía Viện Nghiên cứu Phát triển Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Phó Viện trưởng Viện Nghiên cứu Phát triển Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. From Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies, we'd like to introduce Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Vice General Director, Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies. Về phía quỹ Touchstone Partners, xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Trần Nhật Khanh, Giám đốc quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners. Mr. Trần Nhật Khanh, Managing Partner, Touchstone Partners. Xin được trân trọng giới thiệu bà Ngô Thùy Ngọc Tú, Giám đốc quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners. Ms. Ngô Thùy Ngọc Tú, General Partner, Touchstone Partners. Cùng với đó, chúng tôi cũng rất vinh dự khi được chào đón sự hiện diện của các nhà khoa học, các thầy cô quản lý các trường đại học như là Đại học Quốc gia Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh, Kinh tế Luật, các viện nghiên cứu, các hiệp hội chuyên ngành, các doanh nghiệp khởi nghiệp. Also, it's our great pleasure to welcome all the scientists, managers of universities, institutes, associations, startup founders. Và một lần nữa, chúng ta hãy cùng dành một tràng pháo tay thật lớn để chào đón sự hiện diện của tất cả quý vị. Once again, welcome all of you ladies and gentlemen. Thưa quý vị, để mục tiêu trung hòa khí thải carbon vào năm 2050 được hiện thực hóa, thì điều đó yêu cầu sự nỗ lực và chung sức của tất cả những cá nhân, tổ chức, những doanh nghiệp. Và trên tinh thần đó thì Net Zero Challenge năm 2020
Net Zero Challenge 2024 wishes to form a foundation which can connect green startups, green entrepreneurs and policy makers, and thereby we can join hands to move toward a net zero in 2050. And ladies and gentlemen, in order for you to have a better picture of Net Zero Challenge 2024, we would like to have you to turn to the stage to watch a short clip, please.
Hey, you, Climate Tech founder. Yes, you. Stop scrolling for a second.
You're out there, changing the world, tackling climate change like a superhero. But who said you have to do it all alone?
Picture this. When you walk alone, one idea, one person might feel like a single droplet.
Now imagine when investors, donors, policymakers, and innovators come together. Those countless droplets combined can create a powerful wave of impact.
When we look around, we notice that in the climate space, large-scale strategic collaboration has been lacking.
For countries severely impacted by climate change, such as Vietnam,
It is essential that everyone moves fast and moves together. We believe that strategic collaboration and catalytic funding will go a long way.
and Net Zero Challenge can be a part of that journey.
To accelerate your innovative solutions,
Net Zero Challenge is a global climate tech innovation competition organized by Touchstone Partners and Temasek Foundation. First started in 2023, we received over 300 applications from 45 countries.
this year we continue to look for 3 best innovators of real climate solutions and technologies across 3 different tracks to pilot in Vietnam. Renewables and carbon removal, food systems and sustainable agriculture, circular economy and waste management.
For a total prize pool of over 15 billion Vietnam dong in grant funding, alongside 2.5 billion Vietnam dong in investment offers, together with in-kind support and mentorship. Application closing this September 15.
Targets stay targets unless we can come together and help innovation scale.
Net Zero Challenge 2024. Join us.
Cái nhìn đầu tiên của Net Zero
First picture of Net Zero Challenge 2024 and to play a crucial role in taking the ideas into action. As you can hear from the video, we heard the numbers, the figures. We cannot not mention the Temasek Foundation, right? So Temasek Foundation support a diverse range of programs that uplift lives and communities in Singapore and beyond, and made it possible through philanthropic endowments gifted by Temasek, an investment company headquartered in Singapore. Temasek Foundation's programs strive toward achieving positive outcome for individual and community now and for generations to come. And please welcome on stage
Hang Li Lang, Head of Climate and Livability at Temasek Foundation, to share a few words, please.
Warmest greetings to leadership of the Ho Chi Minh People's Committee, Mr. John Phu An, Director, Department of Foreign Affairs of Ho Chi Minh City, Dr. Jun Min Hui Vo, Deputy Director of the Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies, Ms. Sarah Hooper, Consul General at the Australian Consul General in Ho Chi Minh City, distinguished representatives from government agencies, universities in Vietnam, our friends at Touchstone Partners, valued partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. I'm Li Lang from Temasek Foundation, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to the Net Zero Challenge 2024 launch, co-organized with Touchstone Partners. Temasek Foundation is the philanthropic arm of Temasek, a global investment company in Singapore. We support disruptive innovation to tackle sustainability challenges. We bridge the gap between research and real-life solutions, helping bring impactful products and services to benefit communities. Last year's inaugural Net Zero Challenge was a huge success. We partnered with 40 we partnered with 40 global organizations and received over 300 applications from 45 countries. We awarded 15 billion dong to 3 exceptional winners who have made significant progress since then. Let me give a quick update of these 3 companies. First, Autonal, seated there. They developed a thermal energy storage solutions using SAM battery technology. Their pilot project aims to replace carbon-intensive drying systems with a 70% cost savings. They have also secured over US $1.5 million funding after winning NOC from the Radical Fund, Touchstone Partners, Antler, Impact Square, and Gokar Link. Forte Biotech, I think that the innovators are also seated behind. They created a user-friendly PCR test kit for early detection of prawn diseases, improving accuracy to 90%. They've expanded beyond Vietnam and are currently conducting trials with corporations like GrowBest in Vietnam. The third company, AirX Carbon. They produce bio-based plastic alternative from waste materials, priced 20% lower than fossil fuel-based plastics. They are currently negotiating a contract with a footwear manufacturer, Daishan Chemical, a subsidiary of Pochen Group in Taiwan. Climate change is an urgent global crisis. Finding solutions is critical. That's why Temasek Foundation is partnering with Touchstone's partners to launch Net Zero Challenge 2024. Teams will compete in 3 tracks for a chance to win $15 billion to pilot their solution in Vietnam. This prize money will help them demonstrate their value and implement their pilot. Beyond the prize, the winners will gain valuable opportunities to showcase their innovation, scale their solution for commercialization, connect with key collaborators like testbed partners and investors, and gain regional exposure. So in conclusion, we would like to thank once again all the partners for their support, including the Ho Chi Minh People's Committee, the Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies, the Australian Consul General in Ho Chi Minh City, as well as Supong Partner, our investment partner. Temasek Foundation and Touchstone Partners welcome other like-minded partners to join us in the NOC 2024. Applications are now open, and may the best innovators win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hang Li Lang. We would like to invite you to please remain on stage to receive a flower bouquet from Touchstone Partners. Và ngay sau đây chúng tôi xin được Giám đốc Quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners sẽ tiến lên sân khấu để trao tặng bó hoa tới bà Hang Li Lang thay cho lời cảm ơn chân thành nhất. Một lần nữa,
Witnessing Ms. Ngô Thùy Ngọc Tú, General Partner from Touchstone Partners. And ladies and gentlemen, to mention another crucial piece of Net Zero Challenge contest, which is the Ho Chi Minh City Institute of Development Studies, also known as HIDS. The Ho Chi Minh City Institute of Development Study has been a partner of the Net Zero Challenge and has a role in supporting winning team in piloting green technology solutions in Ho Chi Minh City and Vietnam in general. And please welcome on stage Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Deputy Director of Ho Chi Minh City Institute of Development Study, to give his opening speech.
Cho phép tôi
Please allow me to express, first of all, the greetings of the presence of our colleagues, our friends, and also representative from different industries in our very launch today. Your presence and participant has been a great motivation to the organizer of the contest. And ladies and gentlemen, we started out in 2023, and in our very first discussion of the contest, looking back at the move of Ho Chi Minh City, especially in the green growth and green economy. As you know that in 2023, the net zero concept was quite new to a lot of people, and the leaders from the cities representative joining the forums from Singapore to Australia to the US, and we have gone to the commitment, and the concept has gone closer to the people, to first the Ho Chi Minh City as an urban area where we would like to kick off this. And I recall at the beginning, the economic forum of the city last year. So we have Mr. Hoa from the city and Mr. Bình An, Mr. Phước An, who are there directly managing the event in terms of content and display. So they decided to consult to the People's Committee to use a theme of net zero. And that's a very crucial step for us to once again confirm our understanding of net zero and also green economy and green growth. And with that context, we have series of policy in resolution number 98, in which we have 6 groups of policy for green economy, from using the power to burn the waste, also to moving to vehicles. So in the ending months of last year, so within the Green Cần Giờ campaign, we have Mr. Hồng, representative from People's Committee of Cần Giờ, and we decided to select Cần Giờ as the first place to kick off the Net Zero Challenge. So that's the context of where we get the Net Zero 2023 to start off with. So we were really pleased that the MC has shared with us that we got more than 300 applications, and these are 300 excellent contestants. So speaking of startup, we have Mr. Tuấn Anh, we have Mr. Vũ Phong, who have been with the startup industry for so long. Speaking of startups, we know that you are really young, but you actually really mature, but you chose a different industry to immerse yourself in, and that's a net zero challenge net zero challenge. So meeting a lot of familiar faces here. I know that you're excellent, you're really strong, and it was a tough call for the judges to make the final decision, because we have to select the 10 teams going to the finale, and then 3 winning teams in 3 different tracks. And the champion is about a battery, that you use the sand as a battery to store the power, which is totally new to us. So this team, we have Mr. Hải Hồ representing one of the mills, right, or the power mills in D2, to actually define the technology in the very Thủ Đức district of Ho Chi Minh City. So that's the first story in 2023 for you to get an idea of our journey. It was tough, I would say, from the approach, from the method of implementation, especially getting people involved. So 2024 appeared to be a little more easier for us. So we started out with the Australian trip by the chairman of the People's Committee, Mr. Phước An and Ms. Sarah, and we can once again confirm that net zero is a crucial step for us in the diplomatic relationship, and also we get to once again confirm the framework, the policy framework of green growth. So it's not just something that we speak or in written documents, but it actually in action through projects. And really happy to share with you that if nothing changes, this Saturday's morning, we will have the launch of the factory of waste heat and waste burn using the electricity. And so that's the ideas coming into action. And in this year, with that idea, the Net Zero 2024, we would start to launch today with the same 3 tracks with advantages and also disadvantages at the same time. For advantages, for this year, I think that we don't have to persuade or to start it out by explaining to people what is net zero, and we wouldn't talk much about climate tech. And this is almost a huge capital, and we have Ms. Queen from TVC, and we know a lot of partners getting fun, planning fun on the investment, right? And we don't need much of the media for the idea anymore. But with that comes pressure. It's a huge pressure in terms of us having projects that are more of the quality. So more than 300 application last year, 70% from Vietnam and 30% from overseas, but the combination are actually really huge. And within that, we realized something big, that for some projects which are totally mature, such as the rice projects from one of our Indian partner, which is organic rice, and we can quickly use that to put and immerse into renewable energy. But the gap between mature projects and how to apply that in the area of Ho Chi Minh City and specific, and in the south and in the whole country in general, it's a matter of policy. So that's the role of consulting services or consulting agencies. So this is a contest, right? But in the summary, we say that, oh, we doing it in Ho Chi Minh City and we're working with Ho Chi Minh City. So how can we bring the ideas in a way that we think global but act local, and how we can implement it in the city and to turn them into the practical projects in Mekong Delta or the whole south area. So that's our first challenge. And our second challenge is that I would say this is like a honeymoon of green growth. And we talked about this for 2 years, right? And until now, if we don't have specific projects, then honeymoon is over. We need to be very specific. So Mr. Young, the chairman of Vina Game, he shared with us so many times the severe trend of digital transformation, and the energy required for these centers are huge, and they will require that the energy to appear clean. So the resolution number 98 had shared with us the framework, and we know that Cần Giờ has a huge volume of wind energy, and if we don't have new technology and solution, so when we start a digital transformation, there will be a huge demand of clean energies, and if we don't have a strong transformation, it will be a challenge to us. So the next track, or the second track for this context, is for agriculture. And last year we focused a lot in organic rice and also sustainable cultivation, and we will not just focus in the projects in Ho Chi Minh City, but it's a matter of us looking in general of the south and also the Mekong Delta areas. And we have Mr. Thanh, the CEO of Sadra, a company that's focused on the food matters in Mekong Delta. So yesterday in a meeting with 25 investors from international countries, and we've had the opportunity to introduce the ST25 SD rice of Sóc Trăng. So I mean, it tastes good, but the matter if it's actually low carbon. So what the label cost, and how much water they need, how much energy they require. So those are the questions. It's not about how good the rice tastes, but about like the cost and the energy. So we really want to hope that the organizer can immerse these into the contest. And the last track is about renewable economy. And I recall that Mr. Yang last year context, he asked this question that we cannot answer. So last year we organized in Takashimaya Center. So he asked that within my factory, is there any technology that I can incorporate in order to proceed, in order to manage the waste in D1? And it seems like we haven't had that for now. We have representative from D1, Cần Giờ, and also Thủ Đức. And we have representative from technology department as well, and the circular economy. It actually plays a crucial role, and we would need the technology and very important in innovation that within our trips going to Australia, we feel that technology is one thing, but solution is a more important thing, because speaking of the technology, we talk about how we can incorporate the technology into the practical life, and it has to be suitable for the local area. So that's our expectation for this year. And for the last point, I'd like to share with you that at the end of this year, with the main consultation from Mr. Hòa, Mr. Bình An, the foreign affair, we will have our fourth economic forum with the theme of transformation of industry, and we will focus a lot in redefining the industry of the city of sustainable development, and we'll focus on 17 industrial zone in city. So this is a subject that are very important. So we talk about net zero, or in a more humble way, is on how to reduce the carbon emission of a city. So these are the subjects that we hope it can be incorporated and understood in the right ways, and to turn into practical actions. So last year we had 300 applications. We're hoping for 1,000 or 200. Well, you name it. But as long as the application are more practical and then focusing on the planning of a city, that'd be great. That's something that I'd like to share with you. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Mr. Trần Nhật Khanh, Managing Partner of Touchstone Partners, to proceed to the stage to give a flower as a token of appreciation to Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ. Once again, thank you so much for HIDS to be a partner with us in Net Zero Challenge 2024. And for this very moment, I think it's a time for people are waiting for, which is the official launch.
Tổ chức sẽ cùng tham gia vào nghi thức khởi động này. And right now we'd like to welcome on stage our distinguished representatives and organizers to join us in this official launch. Xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Trần Phước Anh, Giám đốc Sở Ngoại vụ Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. We would like to invite Mr. Trần Phước Anh, Director of Department of Foreign Affairs of Ho Chi Minh City. Xin được trân trọng kính mời bà Henry Lang, Giám đốc mảng khí hậu và môi trường tại Temasek Foundation. We would like to invite Ms. Henry Lang, Head of Climate and Livability at Temasek Foundation. Xin được trân trọng kính mời sự quay trở lại của ông Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Phó Viện trưởng Viện Nghiên cứu Phát triển Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Vice General Director, Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies. Từ phía Touchstone Partners, xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Trần Nhật Khanh, Giám đốc Quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners. Mr. Trần Nhật Khanh, Managing Partner, Touchstone Partners. Trân trọng kính mời bà Ngô Thùy Ngọc Tú, Giám đốc Quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners. Ms. Ngô Thùy Ngọc Tú, General Partner, Touchstone Partners. Và ngay sau đây chúng tôi xin được trân trọng kính mời quý vị sẽ cùng chuẩn bị sẵn sàng cùng với bình tưới của mình trên tay để chúng ta chính thức sẵn sàng cho nghi thức khởi động này. We would like to invite all the representatives on the stage to be ready with your watering can. Và ngay sau đây, sau tiếng đếm ngược của tôi thì xin mời quý vị sẽ cùng bắt đầu tưới cây để chúng ta chính thức khởi động Net Zero Challenge năm 2024. Quý vị đã sẵn sàng chưa? Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Chúng ta sẽ cùng nhau đếm ngược được không ạ? Sẵn sàng ạ? 3, 2, 1, xin mời! Quý vị hãy tiếp tục vun tưới cho cây hạnh phúc này ạ. Và chiếc cây này chính là tượng trưng cho những lý tưởng và cho những khát vọng. Khi được vun tưới sẽ trở thành những bóng cây cao lớn và phủ xanh cho cuộc sống của chúng ta. Thưa quý vị, và hãy cùng dành thêm một tràng pháo tay thật lớn cho Net Zero Challenge năm 2024 đã chính thức được khởi động. Xin được chúc mừng! Xin được cảm ơn quý vị rất nhiều vì đã cùng với chúng tôi tạo nên những khoảnh khắc rất đặc biệt.
For being there with us in such a historical moment. And ladies and gentlemen, after the official launch of Net Zero Challenge 2024, please listen to a few words from the representative of Touchstone Partners. And Touchstone Partners is venture capital fund aimed to technology startups founders in Vietnam, and they were born to promote the development of startup ecosystem and set the high standards for venture investment in Vietnam. Since its establishment, Touchstone Partner has invested into numerous startups in green technology such as Select, Model, Stride, Forte Biotech, Alternal.
Khuê Phan, Strategic Projects of Touchstone Partners, to share more about Net Zero Challenge 2024. Xin mời bà.
Xin chào mọi người.
Good morning to ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Trần Phước Anh, the head of Foreign Affairs, Ho Chi Minh City, Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Deputy Director of Ho Chi Minh Institute of Development Studies, and also Mr. Saren Huber, the Australian Consul General in Ho Chi Minh City, and also the representative of our press, our enterprises, international and domestic areas. So this is my name is Sao Hui, and I'm a strategic project of Touchstone Partners. So we were born in 2021, and our mission is to invest into startups, bringing a positive effect to Vietnam. And through this journey, we feel that there's a shortage of capital for technology in Vietnam, especially in the industry of climate tech in Vietnam. And this shortage is our motivation for us to partner up with Temasek Foundation to create and to organize the Net Zero Challenge in Ho Chi Minh City. And as you heard, last year we received more than 300 applications from 45 countries and territories, and more than 30% coming out of Vietnam. And first of all, we heard that this contest for Vietnam or international. And we will say that this is the contest for climate change response, and it has to work, and it has to start in Vietnam. And behind these 300 applications, the Touchstone team, during the search of contestants, we talked a lot to the startups in Vietnam, or the innovator, or the researcher in Vietnam, or in big university. And we talked to also the university in Cần Thơ and Kiên Giang. So the Net Zero Challenge has been officially launched. You can scan the QR code and look at the emission documents for 2024. So from Touchstone Partners, we really believe that with the commitment from so many partners towards green economy and green growth in Vietnam, the technology in climate change responses industry will develop faster with a bigger scale in order to address bigger problems in Vietnam. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Phang Xuân Sao Khuê, Strategy Project of Touchstone Partners. We really hope that with Net Zero Challenge in 2024, we can attract a lot of breakthrough projects for us to together fulfill the goal of net zero in 2050. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share a little bit about Net Zero Challenge in 2024, about the award. So we have 3 winners of the Net Zero Challenge who will win a total prize value of 15 billion Vietnam dong, along with 100,000 US dollar equivalent to 2.5 billion VND investment from Supon Ventures and Touchstone Partners, and up to 200 million VND of non-binding value from the German International Development Organization GIZ. And we will have 3 tracks as mentioned. We will have renewable energy and carbon reduction, innovative solution that promote the adoption of renewable energy sources and contribute to the elimination of carbon emission, with a focus on breakthrough technology and projects that can enhance carbon isolation, improve the efficient and effectiveness of energy use in transportation, alternative materials in construction, as well as solution for the carbon market. And second track is sustainable food and agricultural system. So we're looking for solutions that support advanced technology to enhance food production, improve agricultural practices, and promote sustainable in the face of challenges that climate change sets out to our food and agricultural system. And the last track is circular economy and waste management. And we're looking for solutions that promote a circular economy and effective waste management that can contribute to the waste reduction, promote recycling, and turn waste into valuable resources. So in order to be qualified for Net Zero Challenge, you will need to, first of all, technological elements such as software, AI, hardware, pioneering technology, food technology, agricultural technology, new materials, new energy technology, new processes, innovation in engineering, biological or chemical engineering, and technology enable business model. Must be commercially feasible and scalable, must be appropriate to the Vietnamese context and applicable to address the country's specific challenge and opportunity, and there must be a clear pilot plan and implementation roadmap in Vietnam. And ladies and gentlemen, to open ideas for projects that can qualify for Net Zero Challenge 2024, as well as to look deep in the opportunity and challenge faced by climate startups, I would like to invite you to the panel discussion with the theme, the role of green capital in supporting climate change response technology. And I would like to invite to the stage the panelists.
Invite Ms. Hang Li Lang, Head of Climate and Livability, Temasek Foundation, to join us in the panel discussion. Xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Hồ Việt Hải, đồng sáng lập Antono, một trong 3 đội thắng cuộc tại Net Zero Challenge năm 2023. Mr. Hồ Việt Hải, co-founder Antono, one of the 3 winners at Net Zero Challenge 2023. Xin được trân trọng kính mời bà Trish Lee, đại diện đầu tư, lãnh sự quán Úc. Ms. Trish Lee, Assistant Director in Venture Capital, Australian Consulate General. Xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Phó Viện trưởng Viện Nghiên cứu Phát triển Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Mr. Trương Minh Huy Vũ, Vice General Director, Ho Chi Minh City Institute for Development Studies. Và người điều phối phiên tọa đàm của chúng ta, xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Trần Nhật Khanh, Giám đốc Quỹ đầu tư Touchstone Partners. And our moderator, Mr. Trần Nhật Khanh, Managing Partner, Touchstone Partners. Và ngay sau đây xin được nhường lại sân khấu cho các vị diễn giả cũng như là người điều phối của chúng ta. Xin mời anh Khanh ạ.
Before I jump into the questions on the panel, I just want to share some, things that would make us so happy last year. So apart from the number of applications that we received and the quality of the applications from the Net Zero Challenge 2023, and the quality of the winners as well, we were so happy because after the finale of the Net Zero Challenge 2023, we received a wave of requests and inbounds from different types of partners, government agencies, international NGO, not-for-profit organizations, philanthropies who want to work with us and who want to actually get access to the innovators and innovations and want to, you know, whether it's a form of giving grants, giving investments, you know, or any other kind of support, technical assistance to the innovators. So we realized the importance. We always know, but you know, from last year we realized the importance of early stage catalytic capital into this space to help motivate the founders to actually start the companies, build companies, and grow it. So with that, this panel is on the importance of catalytic and philanthropic capital into the climate space, tech space in Vietnam. Before we go into that, I mean, I've been discussing and asking around the audience today, and you know, what is catalytic and philanthropic capital? Are they the same? You know, are they different, and how they overlap? So maybe, you know, a first question is a quick 30-second definitions from your perspective, panelists, what philanthropic and catalytic capital funding is. Maybe, you know, we can start with Li Lang first.
Catalytic, to me, my definition is it catalyzes a chain of reactions. It could be like, for example, catalytic to lead to certain outcome that you want. It could be from climate change, the reduction of GHG. It could also be catalytic, as in catalytic in getting more people, more investors to come on board. To me, that's catalytic. And philanthropic can be many, many forms. Philanthropic could be some gap capital that you help to bring about, but subsequently, it could be in many forms. It could be in grant. It could be in concessionary loans. It could be even be impact investment. So it has a slight different definition. Yeah.
Trish?
Yes, I'd really back that in. And I'd say, you know, catalytic capital is money that has been sort of amplifies a particular social impact or social goal. And the Australian government and governments in particular, I think, really like to use that mechanism to amplify the impact of private capital and sort of back in what private capital is doing. The Australian government has kind of a number of funds that we use quite innovatively, and we creatively deploy capital in order to achieve a policy objective.
And Vũ, maybe a quick one from you.
So in the policy circle, Ho Chi Minh City, we always discuss about long-term and short-term purpose, the goals. And one thing when we talk about the green economy, a green growth, we always say that we need some kind of the money for the green project in order to start a big ocean in the future. So that's in ITC about Catalytic. That means we need a lot of short money for the gap fund in order to stimulus of the whole green market, not only in Ho Chi Minh City but also in the region and so on global.
Yeah, hi. You know, you raised capital from many companies before as a serial entrepreneur. So how does, you know, catalytic capital, how is it important to Alterno this time around, and why is it so special for this kind of company that you are running today?
Without that catalytic capital, we die. And that's the very reality of what we're doing. So in fact, I think this is like 6 months from the competitions. So I must say that without Net Zero Challenge, there will be no Alterno today. We literally die. And I think for capitalists, when they see that there's a high risk of whether this company can live on the next 6 months or die immediately today, and they're still willing to put the money in, that takes a lot of courage and strength compared to normal capital investment.
So maybe Hai, can you share a little bit more how Net Zero Challenge prize helps you, you know, right after the finale, and also 6 months after that, and how you mobilized more investments from other investors into the company as well, and how Touchstone investment also help with that as well.
For a heads up, this is not an advertisement, but it. I think first of all, it's the validations. If we come and say we're doing something, there's a big market, please invest in us. Yes, some investors believe in that. But when we winning the program, we can say that out of 300 applications across Asia Pacific, we are a unique idea. And to the organizer, Temasek Foundation, Touchstone, they have been seeing thousands of companies, and they still choose us as a winner. So it's not about we say that we are good, but trusted organizations say that this guy is good. That's number one. Number two, which is more important, is the partner that you have bring last year. Because yes, we have a technology that can have factory, can have farmers, but who will be the adopter? And that's always the biggest question for any come to us, say, how do you sell this technology? And somehow, the hard work has been done by Touchstone. They bring the partner coming in, and they bring the client coming in, and we have a great MOU signing immediately on the stage that can answer that this is our go-to market strategy. And I would like to share that after the competitions, today, one of the new knowledge partner and industrial partner for Net Zero Challenge 2024 is PepsiCo, which we bring to the program. So without the Net Zero Challenge 2022, there will be no internal. And because there is internal, there is Pepsi, and the cycle goes on and on. So I think this is just the beginning of something great. When we're talking about Net Zero Challenge in 5 years from now, there will be much bigger room than this to hold this event.
I hope so too. I mean, this room is probably double the size of the room last year, and we see more partners and more people paying attention to this space. So we talked about the what. I mean, how you think, how you understand catalytic capital, and how that helps. I mean, from our perspective as an investor, we are, apart from Net Zero Challenge, we are working with Temasek Foundation on many other projects where the grants coming from Temasek Foundation would help would help the companies to prove that their technical quality is met in terms of the climate impact and also the economic viability of the business as well. And once the companies can prove that those milestones with the grants from Temasek Foundation, this is when investors like Touchstone Partners would put our risk capital into the company. And usually we do this in a three-way kind of agreement or back-to-back agreements, if you like. So then, everyone understands, have full transparency on, on where the progress is. And to us as risk capital manager, this is super meaningful. So then, we know that, we do the fiduciary duty of protecting and growing the capital for our investors as well. So let's go back to Li Lang, right? So we know the what now. So how does Temasek Foundation think about the how and the why you want to give this this catalytic funding to different industries in Vietnam and in other countries as well?
In fact, for us, not just in Vietnam, we also launched a similar competition in Indonesia. And of course, we also launched something in Japan. And on top of that, in China. But we believe that solutions can come from any part of the world. But we want the solutions, the disruptive innovations to be piloted in the country. And the country will articulate what's the need. So that's why Temasek Foundation wants to do that, with the aim that we are protecting, or rather, I'll take Mr. Lam's words yesterday, we want to take less from the environment so that to protect our future generation of children. So I think it's to reduce exploitation of the climate. That's the reasons why Temasek Foundation to do it. And how do we do it? We do it from a, I would say, catalytic fund perspective, like what Khan said just now. In the funding, there are a lot of spectrum of funding, but many of the investors, or rather many of the innovators, when they first started, they are crossed what they call the R&D, and a lot of R&D funds no longer can support them. But investors look at them that, hey, you are too early for me. You have not proven your proof of value. And that is where Temasek Foundation, as a grant maker, we step in to provide catalytic fund to innovators like Autono to help them show proof of value. And the proof of value will be very specific KPI. From a planet perspective, for example, reduction in GHG emission, from how you benefit sometimes the community in terms of increasing their income, and how the whole project is financially sustainable. To us, that's the key. We call it the triple bottom line. Once you achieve that, and we will work with partners like, for example, Touchstone partners, that we do a back-to-back agreement. The moment that they achieve these KPIs, investors like Touchstone partners can invest in the company. So that is how typically we structure our projects.
Just to follow up, right? I know it's not an easy process to give grants to the right recipients. So what are the key challenges that you face at Temasek Foundation when deploying catalytic capital across different countries, especially in the climate space?
I think the biggest challenges that we see is actually we're finding disruptive innovations. We do see a lot of Me Too solutions. One of the reasons, for example, bioplastics, a lot of you would have seen many solutions of bioplastics. The question is no longer about the technology. The technology is there. The question is costs. Can you bring down the cost lower than that of the fossil fuel-based plastics, for example? So it's actually finding gems that we are, in a way, looking for, strive out. That's why we launch competition in multiple countries, attracting solutions from all over the world. I think that, to us, is the biggest challenge.
Thank you. Let's switch back to Envu. So giving catalytic capital is not an easy process. They have some challenges as well. But at the same time, on the recipient side, before you became a policy think tank person, you worked in the software park of the National University of Ho Chi Minh City, and you saw a lot of R&D and projects not funded or not commercialized. Do you see this as a gap? Did you see it as a gap? And did you see things improved over the last years, 3 to 5 years or so? Do you think that there will be more needed to come into this space to help, catalyze bringing some of the R&Ds and projects into reality?
So it's first of all, it's not a gap only in Vietnam. It's a gap for overall, because for a long time people consider the difference between technology and innovation. So this is different term. The combination between technology and innovation come in early 50 years, something like that. When the people see what you think about technology, so you think innovation is not about technology. It's about process, about solution and governance, the changes. This is the thing. And university is one of that we can pilot. We can think, we can put something there, and we can pilot that. And that's why when we come to the NUS in Singapore, when we come to the Melbourne, Monash, we can see that many what they call university lab and incubation accelerator program inside the university, where the people can pilot a lot of things, new technology in the health science, in the AI thing, autonomous vehicle, to try to put something new from the research to the practice. And this is they call them the sandbox inside the university. Why they can, if they put that successfully there, they can invite many investors and go put the money there. If not, they stop that process and they can change the sandbox or something like that. What I want to say that in Vietnam, generally in Ho Chi Minh City, we try to put some sandbox in National Vietnam Ho Chi Minh City in Thủ Đức, like Mr. Tâm and I and Mr. Khánh. So we try to do some kind of sandbox in the fintech, for example. That's where the people can try to do something there regularly and technology-driven sandbox, where we can try that and we have the prototype to see where's work or not, and if not work, we can proposal in the city level. If not, then we stop and see how to change.
Talking about support from the government, right? Let's switch to Trish from the Australian government. I guess, what are some of the lessons that, I guess you can share from a Australian government perspective in catalyzing capital into new spaces in general, and especially climate space, that you can share with our Vietnamese audience?
Yeah, and look, that's a great question. So I might just start off with a little bit about myself and my background. I've spent close to 10 years with the Australian government in policy and program, and that includes a period of time managing the Australian government's venture capital portfolio. So I've got a lot of experience in trying to commercialise kind of new discoveries and sort of what funding gaps there might be, and what funding is kind of needed, catalytic funding is needed, and the role government can play in amplifying private sector capital. So my role at the moment is based in Ho Chi Minh City. I'm part of the investment deals team. It's a new initiative by the Australian government, set up under Australia's Southeast Asia economic strategy. My role is to catalyse more Australian capital into the Southeast Asia region. My focus is on Vietnam, obviously being based in Ho Chi Minh City, and noting the potential here in this market. I think with the Australian government, it set out 10 priority sectors that it would like to focus on in the Southeast Asia economic strategy, and the green energy transition is one of those 10 priority sectors. I think it's a sign that kind of climate considerations and ESG considerations are becoming a bit more mainstreamed and really at the forefront of the Australian government's mind when investing. And we can also see that come through in different new initiatives. This Australian government's focus on climate. We had actually the launch of the Australian government's first green bond, and that happened, I think, a month ago in early June, and it was oversubscribed, but the first green bond is $7 billion. So I think, again, that's a really strong indication that, there's actually capital behind this. It's not just talk from government. They're putting kind of the money where their mouth is. They're catalysing private sector capital into kind of green energy transition and green investments. They're putting boots on the ground, like myself, in key markets. So I think there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, so the key message is put the money where your mouth is, basically. So when we talk, we have to put, effort and capital at work as well. So at your role, in the current role at the Australian Consulate General Consulate in Ho Chi Minh City, you advocate for Australian investments into Vietnam. So, I have a specific questions on, the kind of, if you can, like, expectations from Australian investors investing into this space in Vietnam. You talked about the ESG framework, what about the profit, the commercial side of it? What are they looking for, and what are the key challenges that are stopping them or holding them back in investing into climate in Vietnam?
So I think I'm just going to echo what my colleague said. I think one of the key challenges that private capital face is their assessment of risk. So, Australian investors, and maybe investors in general, maybe see early stage or pre-commercialised investments as a little bit too risky for them to actually put their capital on the table. And there's a big role, I think, for governments here to play to kind of use innovative financing mechanisms and blended finance to, I guess, reduce some of that risk, to kind of incentivise or encourage that private capital to start flowing. So the Australian government's got a number of blended kind of finance mechanisms that we can deploy, one of which is a $2 billion Southeast Asia investment financing facility, which is financing green energy infrastructure in the Southeast Asia region. But we've also got others like the Australian Development Investments, which is $250 million Impact Investment Fund. We've got InfraCo Asia and the Private Infrastructure Development Group. I can keep going, business partnerships, platforms, but the real key message there is that we've got a number of innovative finance mechanisms. We can deploy capital creatively to reduce risk and encourage those private investors to come in. But I would say a key lesson learned is also that the Australian government or governments can't kind of do it alone. While we might have ideas to encourage private capital, it actually takes all of us working together. takes business, it takes government, it takes civil society kind of all coming together to really encourage that investment.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is a continuum of capital and continuum of support as well from the different stakeholders in the ecosystem to make sure that we will have a long and sustainable development of the climate solutions in Vietnam. I would pause here for Q&A. If there's any questions from the audience for any of our panelists or myself, please raise your hand and we will.
Chị ở trong khán phòng, nếu như chúng ta có câu hỏi thì xin mời các anh chị hãy giơ tay để ban tổ chức có thể chuyển tới các anh chị.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions that you'd like to share with the panelists, please raise your hand so we can give you the mic and you can start sharing. We are here to be open up and to share with you. So we would love to have your inputs or feedbacks, even feedbacks, not just questions. Thank you. And we have our first question from the audience.
Ask a question. So my name is Fabian Tan and I'm from Singapore. Nice to meet everyone here. First of all, congratulations on the launch of the Global Climate Tech Innovation Competition, the Net Zero Challenge. I think this is a laudable initiative that will bring a lot of benefits, not just to Vietnam, but really also to the earth that we live in. And I think every day we're experiencing all these adverse effects of climate change. So I'm a Singaporean, but I'm based in Tokyo, in Japan. And recently I had the opportunity to also join the Temasek Foundation launch of the Innovation Challenge, Impact Innovation Challenge in University of Tokyo. I would like to ask a question about this nexus that we see between Temasek Singapore side, Vietnam, and then also with Japan, especially in the flows of deep tech and innovations to co-address the net zero challenge. And I say this also because I've been interacting with quite a few of the Japanese venture capitals, fund of funds, sovereign wealth fund, and also the trading houses, the likes of the Sogo Sosha, Marubeni, Mitsui, and the likes. And for them, there's really a key imperative by 2050 to hit carbon neutrality, net zero. And I think they're really looking for also innovations, not only from Japan itself, but also sourcing from Southeast Asia. And Vietnam, I think with the deep tech base here, is a key location that they could work with. Thank you.
So, Lý Lang, you want to take this question on the collaboration between Vietnam, Japan, Singapore, and many other countries, you alluded to as well for the competitions?
Well, I think Fabian spot on. That's one of the reasons why we are participating in multiple countries, because we do see solutions, for example, for Japan, would like to come to Southeast Asia and vice versa. Southeast Asia potentially can see Japan, India, or China as the market. I think innovation is about, it can be from anywhere, but sometimes, for example, Otono, after Vietnam, he will have his plan to expand beyond Vietnam. And that is where this network effect, where innovators, platforms like this, will actually help them to, in a way, open new markets. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. So Fabian summarized it very perfectly of what actually Temasek Foundation is trying to do.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing also is if you are successful in Net Zero Challenge in Vietnam, this is the right platform to work with Temasek Foundation to scale your innovation and your solution beyond Vietnam as well, and vice versa as well, right? And any more questions from the audience? Katie?
Hi, I'm Katie from Sunwa Group, a Hong Kong company. So I have two questions. One is from for the rep from Antano and one from Mr. Wu. So from Antano, I would like to ask, after the Net Zero Challenge competition and you won like one of the grant, I would like to know what kind of benefits and also how about your challenges after you winning the contest and like in 1 year, like what is your achievement and also what is the challenges, and you think what you value most after you win the contest. And for Mr. Vũ, I would like to know the role of the government in supporting those startups who have the good initiative to apply for the Ho Chi Minh City. So from the institute and also from the government, how much support that the startup can expect from your institute and also from the government in general to deploy their products in Ho Chi Minh City?
Hi, you want to take this?
Yeah. I think first of all, because we have some experience having different grants from different countries. So Antonio has been receiving grants from the Europe, from Japan, and also from Temasek Foundations. And there are different kind of obligations for different grants. For example, if you're taking grant from the Europe, you can't use that grant to purchase equipment. And we are a hardware company. But out of all the grant, I must say that Temasek Foundations have a very flexibility. And the first thing we use for the first tranche of the money is to buy 3 big machines that normally are gonna cost about 80 to 9,000 Singapore dollar. And for the investor side, we can share with the investor that none of your investment will go to CapEx. All of this is handling by Temasek Foundations. So the investor is very happy. And with the investment on the machinery and the tools, we'll be able to bring down our costs of productions. Because instead of like spending investor money to buy the machine, now we got the grant to support for it. Therefore, we'll be able to lower the costs. Right now, 1 unit of the sand battery, we are selling for $18,000 US. And the cost to make, it used to be $8,000 per battery. But because of the support from the grant, we'll be able to bring down to $6,000. So right now we have a healthy margins on each battery, just because we'll be able to get the fund for support for the machinery. That's one. Number two, when we talk to other clients, we just land Pepsi as a Pepsi Global as a client, and when we share that, oh, actually we are funded, we're supported by Temasek Foundations. Well, obviously with the name of the Temasek Foundations, when we talk to Pepsi Global, it's easier and it's to build trust for our client. And I think one, we'll be able to secure this client. It's the same when we be able to work with Temasek for Vietnam market. We can use the same for expand to Indonesia, for Japan market. So Pepsi also the same. One, we'll be able to run a few pilot with the support from the grant. They can say, just work with one factory. You can deploy these solutions for own factory, for Pepsi food and Pepsi beverage around the world, which means we're going to be very busy the next 2 or 3 years, just serving Pepsi alone.
Thank you, Katie, for a very interesting question. Number one, we in Ho Chi Minh City, we have incubation program, accelerating program, and a lot of policy just before that and just approved after the Decree 98 by the People Council to support for startup in different level. And I'm very happy to forward your question to Mr. Minh, the Director Development of Science, who is also here in this room to discuss in details. Number two, but we think about the strategic policy framework to support the startup and innovator in the green economy. So we are still thinking on that. I think there's 3 things we are thinking about that. Number one is because the green thing is a new thing. If you look at also in Singapore, discussing the carbon tax. Yeah? So this is also the very risky sector. So we try a very good policy framework, what we need right now. And the policy framework also is not city level, it's national level. So Ms. Hoa and her team also work on the carbon predict market right now. Right now, we are still in trouble, so we don't think about how the solution, the best solution for the pilot the carbon predict market in Ho Chi Minh City without the policy framework in national level. And we are keep thinking about how to solve the problem. Number two, we think that okay, we can wait on the national framework, but we can start with some program here. So that's why together with Touchstone and GII, we are thinking about the green innovation hub in Ho Chi Minh City, like the startup hub in 123 Trương Định Street, where we do some kind of the hub for also green solution, idea, startup project, and something like that. And where we can discuss on the idea and also the project on the green economy and green growth. And number two. And number three is we have to organize and structure some sandbox or some pilot. So that's why we emphasize the role of Cần Giờ as the pilot, the experimental region for Ho Chi Minh City, where we can put some new idea there to the green thing there. And so look at how work and not work. And if work, so like I said before, we can propose in the city level. If not work, we can stop that so we can control the not good effect of some policy implementation in some insulate area like Cần Giờ.
The Green Innovation Hub that Dr. Wu mentioned just now was initiated. I mean, the idea was initiated at the round table after the finale of Net Zero Challenge 2023 last year in December. And you know, at Touchstone, we've been working with HIDS and other partners to develop the ideas into something more concrete. And you know, we're happy to share more, hopefully, by the finale of this competition this year. So as Dr. Wu said, the regulation framework and policies around green economy and climate solution is an ongoing process. And we are honored and very happy to have HIDS as a partner where, you know, we can really bounce ideas and discuss and play an advisory role in working with the policy think tank in Ho Chi Minh City. We have time for one last question.
Tôi tên là Võ Siêu Nhân, chủ tịch của VNG. Trước tiên xin cảm ơn của ban tổ chức được lời mời đến dự buổi hôm nay. Thì cá nhân tôi thì tôi xin có một cái ý kiến chia sẻ cũng như là một câu hỏi đối với các vị gọi là làm chính sách của.
For the policy makers in Ho Chi Minh City, so I think a lot about focus on net zero, and one of the major things of Vietnam as well as the world in the future the future development, it's about energy, right? So we realize that most of the countries are having a competition of building up new information hub in terms of terminology and language training for AI. And Vietnam will not be out of it. So it has a lot to do with economic growth as well as the foreign security, the national security. So the major matter is the energy. So for some of the reports and researches that we went through recently, meaning saying that $1 for the new innovation hub is equivalent to $1 for the energy. So we talk a lot about energy, new energy, right, and renewable energy. I feel that the capital to invest into the new data center is a lot, and we feel that there's a lot of the finance institute will invest into that, and Vietnam would definitely need to speed up. And we're just part of the participants, and we believe that this will change a lot of the economic context in the next few years. So we are researching and looking and learning the policy to create that framework for suitable energy source, and also also focusing on the mechanism to cooperate between the private and the public sectors. And because in terms of energy, the private sector can only do so much, and with a clear policy, with a clear vision, it means a lot for investor deciding to invest into this. And this is not a game of short-term or little investment. It's a large investment and in the long term. And one of the things that I like to share is that we can visualize that there's a high chance that the value of the energy will impact inflation, which can be visualized for countries like Singapore. The energies is quite limited, but they still have to keep going looking for new data hub. So this is a question that I like to share with you, and I hope that the policy makers in Ho Chi Minh City in the digital transformation era, I believe that in the and from the aspect of ministry and also the representative from management of the cities, to name a few, Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, will have aspiration to speed this up. But the question here is most of the private investor will listen from the private sector, from the policy making.
Taking notes of the question from Mr. Vosinyan, just a quick recap for Li Lang and Trish. Mr. Vosinyan is the chairman of VNG. VNG is one of the earliest unicorns in Vietnam. One big focus of VNG today is to invest into data center and operate data center. And there's a strong interest from investors investing into data centers. However, the requirement is to have sustainable or green energy to empower the operations. And to what he shared just now, the cost going into running a data center is almost 100% from the electricity bills, basically. So he's asking, Mr. Vu and maybe Trish, you can help with this as well. What kind of policies and legal framework that the city or at the national level should have to motivate more of capital going into this, more catalytic capital into this space. And are there anything that maybe Trish you can share from the Australian experience as well? Building data centers and with sustainable energy and power. So I stop at that. First question for Mr. Vu.
Cảm ơn câu hỏi của anh Nhân.
Thank you. The question from Mr. Young. This is a quick question. This is a really interesting question, and due to the time constraint, I will let you share with you 4 highlights. So during the discussion with the representative from Ho Chi Minh City leaders, one thing that very impressive that was quoted by the media, that the current context is green economy and digital economy are side by side, because the more digital economy, the more green economy. So all of the data hub in tier 3 are using the renewable energy. And the second is during the reality of attracting the investment for data center in Ho Chi Minh City, we have 4 main problems. Number 1 is we have HEPSA and industrial and high-tech industrial zone. We focus on a few areas, to name a few, Tân Thuận or Củ Chi, Tân Thế Trung areas. And currently, the current planning is not about data centers, But then after that, we have to go to the next matter is the power, right? Electricity, they cost a lot. For example, in Tân Thuận, we've discussed so many times about electricity. So electricity is not under the decentralization of the city, and if you want to modify that, then we have to look for the right level. So once we have adequate electricity, it's not clean electricity, as you know. So we have Mr. Vũ from Solar. So where do we get the clean power? Number one, can the city produce clean electricity? We have a few sources, right? We have the roof energy. You have the roof mechanism for electricity, around 15,000. And we have wind energy from Cần Giờ, but actually potential is not part of implementation. We have waste energy, and also we have recognized hydrogen energy. So technically speaking, if we can feed us as this reality or currently, and like Mr. Young mentioned, it might be quite challenging. So we would need to have a second mechanism, meaning we have to buy and we have to purchase and selling electricity from other sources. So part of the drafting from the Department of Commercial and Industry, we will need to look at us as the electricity seller from nearby areas like the highlands and also the Mekong Delta to secure our clean energy. And piloting, I would like to volunteer to pilot this. Otherwise, other people will buy them all. And from the data or the material issued by Department of Information, I understand that the city needs 7 more information centers. So that's a huge demand for electricity. So that's the third thing. Fourth, I'd like to remind a little bit about the material from Department of Information. So technically speaking, myself and some of my colleagues consider this as a living matters, because without this, it's challenging for us. So during the 4 pillars of Department of Information, we can focus. And technically, at this point, the city has made some efforts of practical investment. For example, the Viettel investment, 3 in Củ Chi, 3 in the high-tech industrial zone by Saigon, 1 hub, 1 from the Japanese, and 1 from FPT. And also we have an offer from Korean partners. That means, well, as long as we have the land bank, we have policymaker, we have policy, and we will have good planning, then we will look for 3 to 4 centers, data centers with decent capacity in the next 3 years in order for us to fulfill the energy demand of the city. So that's little for you. So good morning to Mr. Young. So this is not, well, I'm not actually directly from the questions, but from internal, we have a long journey to study on how to store the data and use the data center to build the data center. So we'll talk a lot about, we talked with a lot of agencies, especially Amazon and Google Center. So one thing that I learned from Pepsi, similar to VNG, they have a huge pressure. So Pepsi said something that we're not waiting for a single tablet to kill a vampire. And one of the policy being issued, or someone coming up with a solution like nuclear solution. So in that journey, any solution that works, Pepsi will utilize that. So maybe the challenges that VNG is facing may be the subject for contest like this. So if possible, we would like to ask for the permission of VNG to sit down with our turnout to see if we have any opportunity to cooperate. Because for the last year, we not just working with a lot of agency, not in the HIDS, but we have a lot of solution. Maybe my schedule was too busy, we can connect the solution, but really hope that we can have a talk after this to share more with you.
I was just going to say, you know, green sustainable energy is something that the Australian government and Australia is also grappling with. And, you know, we are starting to invest in things like green hydrogen batteries and sources of renewable energy. The Australian government has a national battery strategy, and some of our new green bond is going towards funding projects like that. I think Australia's kind of prosperity, security and economic future is also inextricably linked to Southeast Asia. And so there's a lot of lessons learned and capacity building and sharing between our countries that we can do. So we can share some of the lessons we've learned in sort of becoming a renewable energy superpower, and vice versa. You know, we can learn a lot from Vietnam about the innovative things that are going on here. So, you know, as I think we've touched on today, innovation can come from anywhere and knowledge can come from anywhere, but it's really kind of the sharing and, you know, how we can kind of make our region better that is key for us here.
Thank you, everyone. Before we close, just 30 seconds on Hai. You won this, and you also won other prizes and competitions as well. P4G and JICA, you know, much bigger, some bigger amounts also, right? So maybe one last advice to the applicants of this year Net Zero Challenge, how to have the best shot at winning this competition. You know, what can they do better? I mean, by the way, it sounds like we invested in the right founders. You know, he even sells his solution to him on the stage. That's amazing. It's unheard of before. I mean, this is like, okay, carry on.
Well, that's quite relevant. I think some of the investors in the audience last year that recently met us again and say that, well, from the very investor perspective, when we were on the pitching stage, we don't begging for money. We don't present that we're so desperate for money, but we're not so arrogant or too confident. So we're just sharing what we're doing. This is what we have done, and we believe this with a bright eco partnerships, we can deliver something. And somehow people believe in that, and you believe in that, right? So I think that's something we can share to others, companies that just be confident in the right place. But in the end, another tips after what we learned with Temasek Foundations, it's all about the OKR and the KPI. That's all about the donor care. Very specific, doable, measurable. And so far, I think we're still on track with our report.
Okay, so we close it here. And, you know, I think this is the public version of the answer. You know, applicants, if you're not happy yet, you know, you can come to Hai and ask him for tips and hints on how to win. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, the panelists and the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And kind thank you to all the panelists for a very thought-provoking panel discussion. Thưa quý vị, phiên tọa
ladies and gentlemen, the panel discussion has wrapped up our official launch of Net Zero Challenge 2024, and on behalf of Touchstone partner Temasek Foundation, with the partnership with HIDS, we would like to express our gratitude to our distinguished delegates. The representative from the government agency has spent time to come to us today. We would like to thank you, investor partner Support Venture. We would like to thank you to General Council of Australia in Ho Chi Minh City. We like to say thank you to Knowledge Partner, PepsiCo Vietnam, Manatee Vietnam, the Duchess General Chauffeur International, the Pay, and media partners. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to use this space for you to have some small talk, to do some networking, and also we'll prepare some tea break for you.
For joining us today. Goodbye and see you again.